strategic, thinking ahead. But the manager, or the boss, acting at this point in time, looking at the detail. I think it was smart and more than said they're counting money, they're reading minutes. Okay? But not the big picture. It's the leader that looks at the big picture. The leader also thinks of a team. We don't talk about my subordinates. It's the boss or manager that talks about subordinates. The people that are below me, people that are under me. I am on top, I'm the Oga. I'm the boss, Oga at the top. Those days of leadership are over. The modern leadership means you're part of it. Okay, and the leader says we, whereas the manager or boss will say I. Boss will control. He controls or she controls everything that's happening in the entity. A leader will empower the team. That is, he uses everything to ensure that the team grows, that the members of the team are developed, that they can stand on their own, and in the end they become leaders themselves. Unlike the manager, who does what? All he does is command. You command the subordinates. They will never grow. They will never become leaders. And then a leader creates other leaders, whereas the manager creates what? Followers. And he's happy and she's happy when others are following. I'm the leader, others are following. All right? And then the leader instills respect. You find that the team that he works with or she works with respect the leader. They don't fear the leader. They do things right out of respect, but not out of fear. It is the manager or boss, I like to use boss as a manager there, that instills fear. Fear. So they rush to the meeting out of fear. So that they're not owners, they don't have that ownership, that coexistence with the leader. The leader will focus on your strengths. What are the good things about you? And that, as I'm talking, I'm sure you are seeing some of the things that you do as good leaders. And you're able to see the strengths of your team and play up those strengths and play down their weaknesses. It's the manager or boss that plays up weaknesses and finds faults. While the leader will seek solutions, the manager or boss will look for who to blame. Who is responsible? You are the one. Right there, you know. A leader will facilitate decisions to be made, whereas the boss or manager makes all the decisions. He can tell you, makes no bones about it. It lets you know that he is the boss. Okay? Whereas the leader will encourage you to be creative, to think. So when they come to a meeting, for instance, it says, who has an idea what we can do to do the ABC? So ideas are coming from the team. It's not that I have come to this meeting, number 1, number 2, number 3, these are the things we are going to do. We close meeting, we are going home. That is not what a leader does. The leader, you look at your team and get the most out of them. A leader will guide you by inspiring you. I think in our parish right now, they're doing an election. Elections are going on today. And I recall one particular lector was told, look, you better run. We want you to run for office because you inspire us by your leadership. So that was indeed instructive, inspiring, rather than exerting authority. This is again bringing about fear rather than respect. While the leader focuses on people and the team members, the manager or the boss focuses on the system, on the structure, that this structure must work. If it doesn't work, we'll scatter everything. And that's not the way to go. A good leader must be all the next slide, please. Now we want to hold in on who a lay leader is. We're talking here, that's what this workshop or this conference is about. Lay leaders. A lay leader is a member of the laity. Am I right? Absolutely. But what is the laity? What's the laity? All at once. Okay, I like that answer. The member of the laity in any congregation who has been chosen as a leader, either by their peers, by their mates, or by the leadership of the congregation, by the hierarchy, by the clergy. Okay? So you're already automatically a lay leader. So you see everyone here is a leader, a lay leader. Next slide. Okay. These are things you find about laity. when you search. The laity in the Catholic Church refers to members of the church who are neither clergy nor recipients of holy orders or vowed to life in a religious order. So that means all of us here are sitting across the high table. The mission of the laity, according to the Second Vatican Council, is what? To sanctify the world. So what are the days when you thought it was only for Father to do that? It is they are working hand in hand with clergy. Hand in hand with clergy. So contemporary days, present day, present time, contemporary church work through collaboration between the hierarchy and the laity. So you are very, 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 very important. From what the statistics that Father Moore shared with us, the fathers cannot do it alone. It's impossible. They need the laity. So being in lay leadership is a great responsibility. Great responsibility. It's not a stroll park. It's not something for us to joke with or play with. When you take on that role, take it as something that is really serious. It can be exciting, it can be interesting, but it is very, very serious business. It's a great responsibility and it's an opportunity for us, for all of us, to assist in the growth of the church and the success of the church. Next slide, please. I'll have more, yes. More. You see that the characteristics of a good leader actually has the basis in scripture. Is Luke 22:27 that says, I am among you as one who serves. Matthew 23:11 says, the greatest among you must be your servant. This is scripture, this is exact. And then Matthew 23:12 says, anyone who raises himself up will be, and anyone who humbles himself will be raised up or exalted, depending on which version you read. So, and this speaks to what a servant of God, servant leadership. That's what I want to bring up. Servant leadership. That should be our focus. That should be our focus. A leader in present times must be a servant leader, not the one that stays at the top and everybody's at the bottom. You are serving. And that's what we're looking to our government people to be as well. All our politicians who are coming out for elections now. We want them to be servant leaders. And so when you hear them speak of when I'm in power, you already know that this person is not ready to serve. When you're in power, you're not in power, you are there to serve. Okay, so look at all these characteristics of a good lay leader, servant of God, servant leader, who's prayerful, is a peacemaker, is a healer, is approachable, is an excellent listener, is humble, has a right attitude and disposition, is passionate, and also values self-development. Because you have to know, like I said, your subject, know your mind. You have to experience, and you have to want to give back, to be a blessing to others, to be committed to people, and then you build the community. You build the community. Next slide. And then there's so many capacities where we can serve as lay leaders in the church. Name them, the councils, pastoral council, what they call the parish, finance, laity, the various committees, functionaries, lectors, choir, and so on, associations, fields, name it. But wherever you find yourself, in any of these capacities, you must apply the principles of good leadership. And this includes what? Delegation. It includes what? Delegation. Next slide. That's very important. Delegation questions. Yes. Well, we're now going to interrogate the delegation. What do we delegate? Where do we delegate? How? Who? Where? Why? These are the questions that we ask.
If you're streaming on YouTube, the network will be dragging it, except to say
and watch the time. Defined delegation. There is a transfer of authority and responsibility for particular functions, tasks,
or the network that I'm always checking and say it's fine from here.
But it does not mean that you relinquish responsibility or accountability. Remember, I'm sure presentation says, which network are you are finally accountable and responsible. So it's not like you call fire and forget. I know your husband tells you that. Don't do fire and forget. You give an instruction and you go away. You give an instruction and you follow, you support. and be sure that it's done. Don't not fire and forget. Okay? Delegation is a core concept in leadership. These are the things that I said about delegation. It is one of the most useful leadership tools. It's a tool. In other words, a tool is something that you utilize, you use, that can implement to help you do work. To help you do your work as a leader, this tool called delegation. And delegation is also an essential element of effective leadership. It is shifting tasks to team members with minimal intervention. Not that you're not supervising, not minimal fire and forget. You fire, you instruct, you follow, you support, you supervise. But not micromanaging and you be on the neck of the person that you are giving that. Allow the person to grow. The person cannot grow if you're stifled. Give them the tools they need to do the work. And follow the distance. Don't hover around them and frustrate them. Allow them to grow. Because you're breeding, you're nurturing leaders yourself. Okay? So you're not going to micromanage. Micromanaging means too much input, too much intervention, too much direction. At the end of the day, you stifle growth. Delegation empowers a team member to make decisions on their own. Because they have your trust. That you trust them to do, so they make those decisions on your behalf. Delegation helps organizations to achieve their objectives effectively. That is an important tool. Without it, you cannot really succeed as an entity. Okay, back again to another question. That is the what. What does a leader delegate? It's very simple. Various tasks, various functions. But the leader does not know what to delegate if the leader does not understand her job or does not understand her project or his project. You have to have a good understanding, the big picture, and know where you want your team to fit in. Are you with me? It's very important. You have to understand your subject. Know your onions, as they say. Understand your project. Next slide. Okay, when do we delegate and why do we delegate? That's the reasons. The reasons for delegation. Next. Simple. Time management. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Because when you delegate, you free up your own time. You can do other things. Am I right?
You're right.
There's 1,001 things that we need to do. Whereas you're able to ask one of your team members to do something on your behalf. So that's time management taken care of. It frees up the leader to enable them to perform other tasks. Competencies. You will find that you have in your team. Because that's how we are. All fingers are not equal. You find that you have in your team some experts in certain areas that you don't have. So you have to identify it and allow that person who has that competence to do a particular task. And they'll do it better than you. But they're doing it on your behalf as the leader. So that's another thing. And identify the competencies of your team members and make at the end of the day you get the best results. Because the best person or the most competent person is carrying out that task. Then you develop team members' capacities and capabilities to handle additional assignments effectively and successfully. That's another reason to delegate. You have to develop them. Then we have said earlier, I think I mentioned that our MC actually said it at the top of his speaking, that for sustainability or continuity or for succession plan, you're already thinking ahead that one day I'll leave this position and I have to be able to nurture or groom people that will feel like position. You cannot groom people or nurture persons to fill their position if you do not delegate by helping them to grow. So those are the kind of things delegation does. The reasons to delegate. What about the how? The how is a bit more difficult. Ability to delegate is actually a very critical skill, but it can be very hard. Some people have it naturally, some just don't have it. But the good thing is it can be learned. You can learn to delegate. You may not be born with it. You may not have the natural flair or the natural inclination, but you can learn it and you can practice. It's a critical skill, difficult to develop, but it can be learned through self-development and what? Practice. Practice makes perfect. Next one. How how do you facilitate effective delegation? Number one is to recognize and respect the capabilities and capacities of others. Like I said, in your team, you have many people with many talents. You have to recognize that these people have talents. If you don't recognize the thing that you have everything, you never get the best solution. Okay, so the next is identify. Identify your capabilities and harness them intentionally. You have to purposefully look for talents. You cannot sit down in a usual way and think that you those talents will jump out at you. Some people are quiet, they won't say anything. But you as a leader can do from your interaction with your team. You can tell this person can do ABC, this person can do this. And so you have to purposely look for those talents and ask them to do it. And tell before they have to understand the problem. And then you have to see the big picture. I think you probably heard that English expression that you don't see the forest for the trees. Have you heard that expression before? One research, one rule is you don't see the forest for the trees. It just means you don't see the big picture. The leader sees the big picture because you know where you want to go. And where you want to go, you know what you need amongst your team. And know what capacities to pick up, what talents you want, and use them for him. And then you have to go and understand the tasks that are inherent. That you have the tasks unless you make it. You have to assess those tasks and communicate them to your team to show them how the business is not being done. You have to manage your team members with assignments and assign tasks appropriately to the team members. So if you don't go away with them, they go away with partners. In your team, you have many talented people. Many talented people with a lot of capacities. So look for them. Look for those talents. Look for those capacities and harness them. Do not micromanage. I think I've already talked about it and forget. Provide support and encouragement. When you delegate, you follow with supervision from a distance. Don't stifle. Do not micromanage. Show empathy. See failure or mistakes. See them as opportunities for learning. People make mistakes, but that's how you learn. Your team members will make mistakes. Don't blame them. Use them as teachable moments so that they grow and you too will grow. At the end of the day, your entire project succeeds. Okay, what are the benefits in a nutshell of delegation? This is a nutshell, and the benefits are all encompassing. The entire spectrum. So even outside of the church, the community, the entity, the leader, and team members all benefit if it is effectively and successfully implemented. Okay? There are lots of other benefits that can bring. You achieve more, eases workload, prevents what we call burnout, you are a successor, you manage time, there's team motivation, team empowerment, you build morale of your team. You build the morale of your team, and then your team members gain experience. Improves their commitment. You generate trust. This is one thing I've heard many times from team members, that there's no trust between leaders and team members. So that's one thing we should go away with. Foster innovation, and then at the end of the day, increase efficiency and effectiveness. Next slide, please. Okay. So let's look at the challenges, potential challenges of delegation. What are the not so good things about delegating? Delegation is a tool that can be used ineffectively sometimes. I know how. A leader may grant too much authority to team members. Maybe a lazy leader. A lazy leader will push all responsibilities and tasks to the team. At the end of the day, your project will not succeed. Some leaders grant authority in what we call a nominal manner, or just to say, yes, I've delegated just by mouth. That's called tokenistic. Some leaders find it challenging to delegate tasks because they're afraid that they're out of touch with the things that they know how to do themselves. They don't want to relinquish, but they should not fear. As you're developing your team, remember, as a teacher, when you're teaching, you're learning more. Only a teacher that can convey actually understands that subject completely. So do not fear that your knowledge will go with your team. As your team is developing, you are developing. So a leader does not want to give up authority. Very common. Very, very common. Because they believe that power must rest with them. Power and authority must rest with you. Gone are those days. These days, the contemporary leadership is one of inclusivity. A leader is reluctant to delegate for various reasons. Some of them are concerned that the job will not be done well because they think they are the only ones that can do it. But again, there are some team members that have a tendency to undermine the leader. Have you seen that before? It's common. So it's for you, the leader, to find the balance. To find the balance. Delegation does involve a level of risk. You are taking a risk by delegating a responsibility because at the end of the day, you are accountable. Next slide. So I'm concluding now with pictures. Because I like talking with pictures. The pictures, they say, speak 1,000 words. So delegation is an art. That when you say you learn an art, but it's also a science. There are specifics to it, but it's an art that you learn over time. It's indeed indispensable tool for contemporary leaders. It benefits everybody, the community, the entity, the leader, and team members, if implemented effectively and successfully. See that there's that if implemented effectively. Conclusion part 2 says we need to work together. That's what this picture shows. Working together is one way of ensuring supporting leadership. Working together. Gone are the days of dictatorial tendencies. These leadership days now is the time of working together in partnership. The final conclusion is, I'm sure you've heard this program, it's an African program that says if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. There's another one after the that says, you see, this is a spider, a lion that's caught in a spider's web. As ferocious as a lion is, and as thin as the spider webs are, when the spider webs unite, they can tie up the lion. That means you alone cannot do it. You must do it with your team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Annette, for doing justice to that topic. She did immensely well. She did so very well. Now we come to realize that delegation is actually very, very important. You cannot do it on your own, and you cannot do it alone. Now you get to see that a whole lot of, when you look at these big men, most of the questions they ask when you meet them, you're having interaction with them is what? How many books have you read? What are your favorite books? Why? Because they read books a lot. And why do they read books a lot? Because they know and they believe that they have so much to learn when it comes to the things of the world. Just imagine we being here and all the things we have been able to learn today. There's so much to take home, a lot to take home. Our church is better. Like I said earlier, you can go back home and relay these messages. They've been so awesome, they've been so wonderful. Please, can we once again put our hands together for Dr. Annette? All right, we are going to go into our question and answer session, which Father Emmanuel is going to moderate. And I've been mandated to request for only 5 questions, 5 for Father Omar and 5 for Dr. Annette, so that we can better manage our time, get into the next thing, and then we all can head home. I would like the organizers to tell us how they want the questions taken. Can we go around? Pick 5 for Father Omar, 5 for Dr. Annette. Okay? Alright, so we have 5 views, apiece. So 1 question from each view. To help us and to others as well.
Glory to Jesus. Glory to Jesus. Yeah, and the MC, he did most of my work today. Yes, of course. Did most of the work that the moderator is supposed to do. The moderator is supposed to do some work of capturing all the major elements in the papers presented. But if you watch, you notice that the MC had already done the work. So I will not go back to highlight the major elements that we find in the lectures today. But I want you to get this very right. You may lose the point of this seminar if you don't go back to the theme. The theme of the seminar is visionary leadership in time of global crisis. Very, very important. And you may ask yourself the question, why are we gathered here today? The good news are connected, and then we sum it up in 5. What your effort as a leader gets too much. These questions, you will have been in a better position to answer them. Yes. But I think I will find out the questions. Those are not the dean or the one that should address the bishop. If we are speaking any further, Gregory Hire will answer those questions that will address the bishop. Then I will put all of them together so that we see how we can solve them. The second question is, how can you work with other priests that do not, that see social media? They see social media from a negative point of view. Remember that the priest should make use of social media. We gave an example of use social media to facilitate your task within your parish. He said, how do you manage? If you are a member of maybe the parish council, where the parish priest, for instance, who is an old elderly priest or a younger priest, do not entertain the use of social media as a vital way of communication and leadership. Another question is, how do we address a situation where emphasis on raising funds is more than the liturgies of the word as the homily? They spoke about homily, he spoke about raising funds. Now they are shifting it because he spoke about raising funds within the maybe CWO, when they come to their meetings, it's about raising funds, buying bags, buying polos. Now, they are asking, how do you address situations where emphasis on raising funds, whether within the church or within the societies? How do you address it? Where it takes more preeminence, more than the liturgy or more than the meeting, during their AGMs and other associational meetings. But are we together? Thank you. And the last question, Father. Not the last question, but this question I say should have been addressed to the dean. He said, when we Lagos Archdiocese divided into two to reduce the risk and the insecurity involved in traveling from one end to the other for Archdiocese functions. I think this person will be coming from Lekki. That's why he's asking this question. Yes. Or coming from Badagry. Yes. Maybe Padre Mo will send this question to the bishop. The last question, Father.
To change where we once stop so as not to be termed disloyal. I mean, this person asking this question may be from a member of the parish council. He's asking this question. He says, he's suggesting change or changes to superiors, I mean, maybe the leaders of the church who are resistant to change where we won't stop so as not to be termed disloyal. And what should leaders, please let's pay attention and listen to the response.
My co-presenter, Dr. who will take all the questions that provokes poverty. How can we manage it? And how can the parish help the poor? Beloved in Christ, the first thing we are doing here today is to acknowledge that the church is not perfect and that there are a lot of things that need to be done. And the more we come together in this way and raise the awareness, the better. Because evil thrives in secrecy. Where there are problems and we continue to sweep them under the carpet, continue to cover them, those who perpetrate the wrong things will continue doing it and it will begin to assume the nature of being right. So the fact that we are even have this opportunity to discuss respectfully and honestly are steps in the right direction. It doesn't however mean that immediately we get home and you go and follow your parish list or your BBC and say, hey, Father, I don't come for you today. I'm just coming from a seminar and Father Ogo has said everything, so cool down, change. And the progress and pastoral matters like this, except we have a combined gathering of priests and the religious and the lay faithful. And that is where in that paper, I already indicated that perhaps there is need for a synod in the Archdiocese of Lagos. A synod means that the bishop must be seated there, all the curia will be there, representatives in the diocese all will be there for the religious, for the laity. And all of us will discuss this type of matter we have discussed, and then we will identify the issues concerning us, and together we will arrive at resolutions, and those resolutions will have time frame and who to do it. I strongly believe, without prejudice to a lot that our Archbishop has been doing already for formation, for bringing out guidelines and so on, Lagos Archdiocese is overdue for a synod. I strongly believe that, and I hope PPP representing the Archbishop and the communique will take note of it as part of my own humble, strong recommendation. So when you talk about leadership that provokes poverty, how can we manage it? Not what we have said. Focus more on the charism of your society. Every society, every solidarity group of the church have specific charism they are to promote. And I will be bold to say, let us reduce what we copy from political parties outside. because many of our or some of our societies are taking the character of political parties too much. There are too many offices we create, deanery, sub-deanery, down parish, sub-parish, that do not add up to advancing the church. They don't, the societies are here that at that social level, there are even more bodies. And those bodies don't add up anything in reality. They are just bodies. I don't want to mention some of them, but you know what I'm saying. Reduce all these political things. The church is not PDP or a church. But when we begin to create all these things, people begin to belong to, we then need more money to manage. Those are part of the ways we can manage this provoking poverty to our societies. Because some of us have this money, but many of us don't have. Some of us have this money, but many of us don't have this money. Many of us simply want to come to church. Many of us simply want to come to church, know God, to serve God, so as to be happy with Him forever in the next. And to do that, we don't just want to be coming to church and go out. We want to belong to a society that will help us when we are weak, encourage us and strengthen us. But these things I'm saying are complaints I've heard from you people, that the burden is too much. And I know the truth. Let's face it. Let's reduce it. Let's stop making people uncomfortable because they belong to society. There are some things we also do. There are some societies in the church here who will continue to fix programs on weekdays. Without remorse, they don't care. Weekdays. Monday you fix program. Tuesday you fix program. Wednesday you fix program. Won't people go to work? Don't people have work? Or are these societies for retirees? So you can establish a society for retirees. Public Retirees Association. Come for program every day. We have to face these things. There is hunger in the land. People are struggling to secure their work, struggling to make their effort, and you call people as a normal thing anyhow to come to meeting or program Wednesday, come on Thursday, come on Friday. Waiting. Are you the ones paying them? Those are issues. And I'm telling it as I know it. When we do all those things, they are not realistic, and I don't think it is part of the work of evangelization. It's a different belief is once in a while, there is ordination on Thursday, and we have to be, we are just holding ourselves to ransom. If you cannot, in short, you know what I'm saying, go wrong and discuss it, and solve your problems. But these are issues. Meanwhile, those who cannot attend because they are executive or members, they will start them with fines. And some of them are widows struggling to even take care of their children. Nobody is asking, how are you taking care of the children? But because they didn't come for this program, you fix on all day, you are finding them. So many people are running away. So these are the issues I raised that I'm talking about. Late council, face it seriously, very seriously, and I'm sure Father is hearing me because it is more in his purview to regulate these exaggerations. They are not helpful, and they are not helpful at all. And I'm speaking from experience and with authority. I know what I'm saying. How can the parish help? Let me begin to excuse the priest on your behalf. When we were in seminary and until just recently, we never had any. I have introduced, since I took over Director of Social Communications at the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria. With the approval of the bishops, number one, It has been approved and it is there already and it will start very soon. Each of the regimes that we want to adopt and apply. Number two, for 3 consecutive years now, we have had intensive formation and run that program for the priests and create more awareness. The one for Lagos Diocese, which have been invited to us person, has already been scheduled to come up by July. So we are gradually creating media formation and awareness even among our clergy and our priests and pastoral agents. Number 3, so that this media awareness and media culture will find place in our churches in Nigeria, which is very poor. If out it already, throughout Nigeria, the programs have been sent. Thank God. Come Week is about media literacy program in the Nigeria to promote media literacy approach. We believe the more we embrace the media, the better we will be both in the church and in the society. We've heard of the problems our children are. Show you some of those things of social media and media as a whole. Luckily, most of you have my number now, so you can tap us by asking me. So what am I saying in essence? We will be patient, but as much as can influence the use of media in your parish, please do not hesitate, because it is the right of your priest and is not doing it. Nicely speak with it and encourage him to. You can always seek help or support from us. How do we address situation of raising funds during moving? See, I don't need to tell you about that. What is good is good. What is bad is bad. We know it. All of us know when we shoot beyond what is decent in the way we raise money in our churches. Sometimes it is absolutely disgraceful, particularly during harvest time. We know it. Even the priest allowing it knows it. So we just need to call ourselves to order that money, yes, we need. Because the church cannot operate on only Hail Mary. But how we go about raising it must not rob us of the dignity of the liturgy and the dignity of our being as Christians. I was in one church and I was praying the ground to open so that I will just enter and it will cover me there. They went as far as, at the time, they said, Father God. They carried Father put on a chair. And they said, we have kidnapped Father now. We have kidnapped Father now. Imagine the type of stupid givings we can come up with that is so offensive to sensibility. But we have kidnapped Father now. We have to pay ransom. And people are calling are taking it as nonsense. What is wrong with us? What type of money are we looking for? Meanwhile, we are preaching and condemning kidnapping, but we are using kidnapping idea to raise money in the church. How are we different from kidnappers?